Let's have the view of almost like overhauling everything and going like, do you know what, it'd be really good for like somebody who's not in the dog industry at all, just to look at this like a business and dissect it and praise it if it is working really well, or just pick it apart a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's no, I don't know, it's like that resource guardy thing probably comes in again to it, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. And do you know what, when you were talking then, I was actually thinking, and we seem to think that regulation's going to make a huge difference. I can't see it.
I can't see it either.
Because in reality, how are you going to regulate it? Because arguably, some of these accrediting bodies, so let's say ABTC, how many people out there are not following ABTC's code of ethics or code of conduct or whatever it's called? And how would they know?
Yeah. Occasionally they get called out. There are people that sort of say, oh, so-and-so's not doing what they should be. But is that the way it is being managed?
And again, like if we're in an industry where you've got to whistleblow all the time, it's like, come on. If you're spending time doing that, then you, in my opinion, you're not doing enough on your own thing. You're not.
Yeah.
I always hate the phrase like stay in your own lane, but I also kind of mean it.
Yeah, I think it's relevant though. It's totally relevant.
I do struggle with it. The more and more I hear talks about regulation, and the more I'm actually looking into it as part of like my dissertation stuff as well I'm doing for uni, but I actually don't see, there's very few regulated industries that do it very well because it's so tricky to manage it.
Yeah.
There's not enough resources. You'd have to be consistently checking up on someone to make sure that everything's being adhered to if you're going to go big. And if you're on about regulating an entire industry, how are you going to do that? So even I was looking at it from, as part of my dissertation with, because I'm looking at the relationships between vets and trainers and behaviorists and why they wouldn't necessarily work together. Now, in the veterinary industry, I've got to try and remember my facts here, RCVS, like the Royal College Veterinary Surgeons or School, I forget what it is. They are apparently regulated. However, you, for example, could go and open up a veterinary practice as the owner of the veterinary practice, and the RCVS wouldn't be able to check in on your regulation because you're not associated with them. But you can still have a veterinary practice.
Okay. Interesting.
So how are you going to be regulated? So your staff that you may bring in, like your vet nurses, could be RCV, RVCF, bloody acronyms, that accredited, but doesn't mean the practice has to be.
Yeah. So it's always going to fall down, isn't it?
Always going to fall down because there's not enough people to do it. And again, like for me, that this breeding of imposter syndrome is just how can we make it better? Because even when I talk to fellow cab people, I say fellow, I'm not a cab. I was working towards being a cab. And then I've decided I absolutely don't want that because it's too restrictive.